Hello, my name's Garry Hunt. I'm a director of Digital Plymouth and Explore Mesh. They're both social enterprises and we support local communities in Plymouth. Digital Plymouth is dedicated to making Plymouth the best digital community in the world, and Explore Mesh is a community that uses the power of local experts to provide affordable digital skills workshops and events for local people. We're also an incubator for initiatives like Borrow Don't Buy and the Plymouth Drone Project. To make Plymouth the best digital community in the world, we're running regular free events to encourage collaboration and not competition amongst our members. We also represent the community at other events as local speakers or local experts and at some local council work groups. Explore Mesh, we put on regular affordable workshops and events using local experts to help teach things like website design, programming, crowdfunding and other digital skills. One of the projects that we've had within the project incubator is Borrow Don't Buy, which is a library of things. We ran a crowdfunding campaign which we raised over £10,000 and we've completed almost 100 loans since it opened up in February of this year. So the idea behind Digital Plymouth was that we saw lots of digital companies in the city not talking about the great work that they do. We saw lots of talented students graduating and then taking the skills they learned elsewhere, and freelancers and small business owners not getting a huge amount of support and help in times that they really needed it. The inspiration behind Explore Mesh was started because we just wanted to provide an alternative to traditional digital skills education. We knew that a number of our members and friends and people that we worked with were really clever and knew how to be able to share this kind of information, and they just didn't have a way to do so. So that's what we provided for them. We also knew a lot of people with lots of different ideas as well as ourselves, and just needed a little bit of support to help that get started. Sometimes they needed business support, sometimes they needed financial support, and sometimes they just needed a little bit of help and advice with things like that. And that's what we did with Borrow Don't Buy, which was one of the biggest projects we've supported so far. Digital Plymouth started back in 2012 now with an event that had 34 people. In less than 6 months we had grown and held our third event, which we had over 120 people show up. We started initially with investing money of our own into hiring event space and paying for things like certain tools and certain people to come and video speakers and other things like that, just so that we could get the word out about what we're doing. Within the first 3 months, we had managed to gain enough sponsorship to be able to not have to pay for those things ourselves, and actually had a little bit of spare money to pay some extra people to come and do the filming and hiring the space without spending our own actual money. By the end of our first 12 months, we'd actually secured over £5,000 worth of sponsorship too. Mesh is entirely different. Mesh is supported by a co-working space called Think Tank, which is in the city centre. They help us by providing space for almost all of our events, and it also gives us a space to work from when we're planning out workshops or events or speaking to people about other projects that we're doing. The Library of Things, that is the Borrow Don't Buy project, that is also housed in one of the rooms in Think Tank at the moment. The challenges for both social enterprises have been very similar. A lot of it is about, the biggest challenge we have is the engagement and recognition for each charity. Getting out there and telling the community and the wider city about what we do is always a challenge. We've got a great community that supports and shares lots of information about what we're doing, but they're obviously sharing to their friends and other similar people. We really want to get out and tell the whole wider community about it, which is the challenge for both companies. Financial support, again, is always quite difficult. We've been self-funded from the very beginning. As directors of Digital Plymouth and Mesh, none of us get paid for anything that we do. We try, as a community interest company, we put all of that money either back into the business or into spending money supporting the local events or other local businesses or other local providers with things like filming or social media promotion, that kind of stuff. Another thing that we have is a reliable source of venues. Plymouth is a really big city, but it's very, there's there's a bit of a disconnect in venue sizes. So for Digital Plymouth, going from a meetup that housed 34 to 120 people, 120 to 150 is about our maximum. There's nothing in between that and an event space for 500 people, for example. So it's tough finding a good venue that matches with what we want and what we want as part of our business in comparison to getting enough people in, and in that is also in a city centre location. And again, for both businesses, we're always on the lookout for volunteers and sponsors, and it is really difficult to find people that are reliable volunteers and volunteers that can do the volunteering part well. And regular sponsors are not as difficult as they used to be able to come across, but it's still a lot of work to keep them on board. And I think that's probably quite similar for most social enterprises. Our biggest successes for Digital Plymouth so far has been the last 2 years we've been included on something called the Tech Nation report. Plymouth has been listed as a digital cluster. Tech Nation's actually produced by a former government organisation that's called Tech UK. So it's a really well regarded report, and it's something that we're really proud to be part of every single time that we've been included in it so far. We were awarded £10,000 from the Plymouth Council Social Enterprise Fund last year that went towards improving our website and starting the process of mapping out the types of members we've got, where they're located and what they're doing, so that we can provide our own kind of report out to the larger city as a report for them. And we're regularly asked to go to events locally and nationally to talk about Plymouth being a digital city or digital kind of topics within there. Really good successes again for Explore Mesh. We got £5,000 from the Plymouth Social Enterprise Fund that helped us set up officially as a CIC and paid for a little bit of training and a little bit of equipment for what we wanted to do with that. We raised over £10,000 from crowdfunding for the Borrow Don't Buy project, and once again we're regularly asked to a whole different set of local networking and meeting and conference kind of events that we're asked to show up for totally different reasons that we're turned up to for the likes of Digital Plymouth.